Welcome back to the Swing Glow Podcast Show. It is yours truly, Do Rock Creek. What's happening with all my people out there in the free world today? It is an absolute pleasure to be back here at this round table amongst my round table family, man. Salute to all of y'all, man, to take the time out to come sit and listen to another crazy prison story that I got for y'all. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this thing real quick, man. I'm not trying to hold y'all too long. Okay, this situation happened probably around the year 2001, right? I believe I had went over to the C Yard in Calipatria State Prison at this time. It was either the C Yard or the A Yard, right? I believe it was the C Yard. So anyway, it was a white boy there by the name of John, right? That was in my building. I can't remember what his cell he was, right? But John worked on the yard crew. The yard crew is the people that take care of the upkeep of the yard. You know what I'm saying? As far as the grass being cut, you know what I'm saying, and trash being picked up or whatnot. You know, you do stuff like that when you work on the yard crew. John worked on the yard crew. However, John had an extremely bad heroin addiction. Right now, you know, in prison, you run across people that have people in their life that love them, whether it be their family or, you know, good friends or whatnot or whatever, man. So some people will exploit those relationships, you know what I'm saying, while in prison, you know, to support their drug habits without, you know, their loved ones knowing that that's what they're using their money for. And a lot of the people that you know, pick up these type of drug habits like that, man, um, you know, they get real in debt to a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember. Think about this. Think about how a drug addict is on the street. Okay, a drug addict on the street and a drug addict in prison really is one and the same. However, you know, it's available for you 24/7. You know what I mean? People gonna have it available. You know what I mean? If you can't get it from this person, you get it from here. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be around. So anyway, John picked up a nice, healthy drug debt, but it wasn't to one person. He owed multiple people. You know what I'm saying? And usually John would pay you. You know what I'm saying? John would come up and it just, you know, it all depended on where you fell in line, you know, as far as the people that he owed. You know what I'm saying? So I dealt with John a couple of times, you know, just as a on nothing extreme, you know what I'm saying? But just me running around trying to hustle, you know what I'm saying? I might come across a little bit of this or a little bit of that at that time, and I'll sell it to him 2 for 1. You know what I'm saying? Or for whatever, you know what I mean? So bam. I never really had a problem with John. You know what I'm saying? He usually came through. I remember one time me dealing with him, and I remember getting extremely mad because he told me that he was going to have my money at a specific time. And when that time came, no money was available. And him running drag on me, I thought it was drag. I took it as that because what he was telling me really wasn't making no sense. And then I'm hearing other stuff from different people, and they tell, oh, he just got paid and this person got paid and he told that person the same thing he told you, and it was a whole bunch of that going around, right? So I had got to the point where I was kind of frustrated and I really wanted to, you know what I'm saying, blow the spot up. But talking to older homies and homies that was around at that time, you know what I'm saying, they made me aware, like, you knew what you was dealing with before you dealt with him. You knew that this dude, you know, he gonna deal with whatever. A dope fiend is not gonna be loyal to you as a customer. They gonna go where they can get the biggest, the best deal, and that's how they operate. You know what I'm saying? So they're not gonna be loyal to you, and they're gonna owe multiple people. You know what I mean? Like I said, it all depends on where you fall in line at on their to-do list. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because hey, I always found it interesting, man, that another man would be willing to put himself in debt to another man. You know what I'm saying? anywhere in life, but let alone in prison. You know what I'm saying? And walk around and be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? You go to sleep and be cool knowing that you owe another man, that you're indebted to another man. You know what I'm saying? That's something that never has set right with me. And I always encourage, you know what I'm saying, the people that I deal with to never ever place yourself in debt of another man. You know what I mean? Like, we don't get down like that. If anything, you have somebody indebted to you. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be pimping the game, not the other way around. You getting pimped. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, like, a lot of dudes that's in prison is not well off like that. A lot of dudes don't have family. Some, family members have died, passed away. You know what I'm saying? Or bridges was burnt. You know what I mean? Whatever the circumstances is, you know what I mean? But in a lot of cases, dudes don't be having that support system like that. You know what I mean? So if you find a way to hustle and grind, you know, then you're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? I've been there quite a few times where I had, nothing, you know what I'm saying, or no one. So I did what, you know what I'm saying? I picked up a lot of different game from a lot of different people, man. You know what I'm saying? And I utilized that game to my benefit when I needed to. You know what I'm saying? And that's just eating off the land, you know what I'm saying? And creating from nothing, from scratch, just off your hustle, off of that skill that you learn. You know what I mean? And you know, I was never one that was in debt to nothing or nobody. I don't like owing a person nothing. You know what I'm saying? I like taking care of business, getting it out the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm the type of person I wanna pay you in full right here, right now. And what's yours is yours, and what's mine is mine. And we both walk away happy. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about me owing you. I'm not worrying about you owing me. Everything is done straight across the board. That's the way that I love it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way that I've always operated. I would never ever feel comfortable or place myself in a position of owing another man anything. It's just not gonna happen. And that's something that I always encourage my homies. If you pick up anything from me, try to pick up that. You know what I'm saying? To never place yourself in debt of another man. Anyway, however, you have those that do it, and it's just amazing to me that people is that comfortable thinking that tomorrow is promised to them. When you have people that's in prison, man, that will unalive you for $1. I've seen riots. I've been part of riots that started over debts. And some of these debts, man, was $5, $10. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about it. In prison and in jail, period, you have people that's thrust together from all walks of life. You know what I'm saying? From all walks of life, from every ghetto, every crevice, you know what I mean? All over the globe, really, because people come from everywhere and end up getting locked up in California and end up in these California prisons. You know what I'm saying? Just like in other states, in other prisons, you have California dudes that's all over. You know what I'm saying? So it really is a global thing. You know what I mean? So just think about the different mentalities of these dudes that's in this one confinement. You know what I'm saying? And you have some of the coldest mind states. You know, you have some of the coldest characters. You feel me? Think about the worst of the people that can ever be breeded in a lot of these different communities all being put together. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by the worst of the worst, the people that the gang members, you know what I'm saying? The ones that was out there in the field that got caught up and ended up incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Them the people that I'm talking about right there. Okay. But so much come with that just from being around these different kind of dudes. You know what I'm saying? So you become, like I always say, part psychologist. because you have to understand like different vibes. You have to be able to read a room. You know what I'm saying? You got to know your surroundings, study it. Because if you don't, you can easily fall victim to something. You know what I'm saying? But the debt part, going back to the white boy John, right? Now, on that yard, it was a white boy by the name of Boots, right? Boots was a Nazi, right? No, excuse me. Boots was a skinhead. Boots was a skinhead, right? And Boots had this very, very detailed tattoo on his head. I would never forget it. I remember the first time I seen it, right? Because I used to always trip on this dude Boots, right? Because I used to deal with him on business. And he was a very, very, although he was a skinhead, he was a very, very stand-up dude when it comes to business. Point blank period. You know why? Because he was one of their main enforcers. You in debts and all that. Oh no, if it get out that a white boy is in debt to a black, he can lose his life for that as well as a Mexican. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? There's supposed to be no business amongst, the different races like that, especially going into debt to one. But of course, people do business under the table. You know what I'm saying? So, that's really how it works. Everything under the table when it comes to that. But if it ever get exposed, then you know what I'm saying? They'll tell you, hey, being that you brought this to me and you're exposing this person, you're gonna get paid in blood. You won't see your money, but this person possibly finna lose their life. And that's how you finna get paid since you exposed them. You know what I'm saying? And hey man, so Boots was one of the white boys, you know what I'm saying, the skinheads that was one of the main enforcers on, you know what I'm saying, messing their people off if it came out that they was in debt or, you know what I'm saying, any of that. So bam. When it comes to John, Boots is, you know, over there. Like I said, John on a lot of people. Now we can't always control, you know what I'm saying, people that's doing business with this person from running and exposing him if he get in debt and go past the deadline. You know what I'm saying? So we not gonna always be able to get to these people and tell them like don't go expose them because there's a lot of other people that got money invested into this dude. And if you go expose him, you know what's gonna happen. And if they don't, you tell them, hey, he can lose his life behind that, bro. If he don't lose his life, he gonna get messed off real. He gonna get stabbed up real bad and airlifted off the yard. You know what I'm saying? If you expose this man, like that's why a lot of the times you don't do it, but you got some homies, man, that's aggressive, over aggressive hustlers that want their bread when they want it. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to this dude, John, by him owing so many people, he ran across that one person that couldn't hold it in and it got out that he owed. And it went back to this guy Boots. Wrong person for that information to come out on to, right? Bam. I remember one day being in the building, out in the day room this day, right? The yard is out there, but it's different buildings that's out. You know what I'm saying? And again, John worked on the yard crew, so he was always on the yard. He can go out with every building. So bam, this one particular day, he went out to the yard and he had went to the canteen that day. You know what I'm saying? And he go out to the yard, you know what I mean? He get his canteen and when he get his canteen, he make his way over to the white boy table, right? Everything is sectioned off in prison on the prison yard. And inside the buildings, everything is racially sectioned off. The white people, the white boys have their area. The Southside Mexicans have their area. You know what I'm saying? The Crips have their area, Bloods, and so on and so on. Everything is sectioned off. So bam, he get his canteen, make his way over to the white boy tables. He get over there, right? set his stuff down all around him, right? Bam. So I guess he had went over there, you know what I'm saying, waiting for them to do the inline so he can take his stuff in the cell. Also, you know, they over there playing cards and all that. So I think he went over there to play cards and wait for them to do the inline so he can go in. So bam, he's sitting at the table and he's sitting there playing cards. Well, what he didn't know was the Grim Reaper was sitting at that table with him, right? The Grim Reaper sitting at that table with him. And the Grim Reaper waited, let John get nice and comfortable, get deep into that card game that he was playing while waiting on the inline to take his canteen, his store, into the building. And just when he got comfortable in that card game, the Grim Reaper jumped up, slid up behind him, and stabbed John one good hard time in the top of his head. Right? One good hard time, big knife, went in extremely deep. Went in so deep that he left the knife in the top of John's head. So as soon as he do that, bam, all the white people, all the white boys leave the table. They leave the white boy section. Excuse me, the white boy area, right? John is sitting at the table with his head down, with the knife sticking out the top of his head, dead. He died instantly, right there, right? All this thorn, all that stuff still sitting around him. You know what I'm saying? He's at the table sitting there. The way that he was positioned, right? From everything that I've heard, right? Because I wasn't on the yard that day. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't out there that day, but I was inside the day room. So and when you inside the day room, they got these windows, right? So if you go upstairs, you know what I'm saying? You can look out those windows and see the yard. You know what I'm saying? So we up there looking and we see the yard. You can see that area where the white boys be at. You know what I'm saying? Where they tables is at. So we see the area, you know what I'm saying? And we see John gone, right? So bam. But it's a distance. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a distance from where we're looking at. So we can see, but we don't get the full details on him being laid out like that. You know what I'm saying? And the police doing shift change. Now this happened right before shift change, right? He's laid out right there sitting at the table and they do shift change and the police is coming and going, walking right by John. Walking right by him. He at the table dead as a doorknob, right? And finally one of them peep, like, wait, what? And they see the blood trail going out into the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? That's when they realize that, you know, John was dead. You know what I'm saying? So I remember them, the police coming into the building, going to his cell, handcuffing the cellie and taking the cellie to the hole. Like in a lot of cases, if a dude get killed or unalive, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times they're gonna take the cellie to the hole too until they do their investigation and figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, John died right there, man, at that table with the knife sticking out the top of his head. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we was in the building looking out the window, but it was a distance we couldn't really see. So everybody that was out there came back and told they seen it right there. They was out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, as soon as the dude did it, all the white boys left that table and left him right there. You know what I'm saying? Like they knew it was gonna happen and they was waiting for him to do it, did it, and they all bounced together and left him sitting there. You know what I'm saying? So he was sitting there for a minute, dead. You know what I'm saying? And then they finally realized that he was gone. You know what I mean? But yeah, all that over a debt. And I believe at that time, John owed me probably like $100. You know what I'm saying? He owed quite a few people. You know what I mean? But he lost his life to that. You know what I'm saying? He lost his life to that, to You know, that's why I stress, and I can't stress it enough, man. You know what I'm saying? These stories is important. You know what I'm saying, for the outside world. You know what I mean? If you thinking about doing something idiotic, placing yourself in a position to have to go to jail and go to a prison, hopefully you catch these stories that I bring to y'all and that others bring to y'all, because I've seen some dudes that be on point with the things that they put into the free world. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to the homie Coach Zoe over at the Game Bangers Life Coach. Shout out to 16 to Life. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Damian Porter, the Inside Story. You know, and quite a few others, man, that I've checked out and heard them, you know, give accurate information on what actually goes on in these prisons. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully that information, man, can shed some light on, if you're ever in a situation in the free world and thinking about doing something crazy that's placing your freedom in jeopardy. Think about these stories that we bring to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of dudes bring them bad habits from the streets into the prisons, and them bad habits gonna either, you know, get you unalived or get you seriously critically hurt. You know what I'm saying? If you're not trying to correct yourself and make yourself a better person. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, dude lost his life over drug debts. You know what I mean? It was crazy. You know what I mean? Him being there one day and gone the next. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that I dealt with a lot. You know what I mean? That's why I tell y'all, man, like, you know, it'd be a blessing for me to be able to come to this round table and give this to y'all. And people tell me, like, man, we appreciate you doing that. You know what I mean? Because if you didn't, who else is going to do it? Who else is telling the truth? You know what I'm saying? You got so many of these PCs and SNYs jumping behind the camera, giving you their account, watered down accounts, and people actually trying to convince you that it's cool to do this and do that. And you know what I'm saying? Dishonorable stuff. You know what I mean? Like going to a SNY 50-50. We're gonna get touch on that more too. You know what I'm saying? So I promise you, man, nothing but the truth here. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to the inside, the prison system. You know what I mean? But yeah, that dude lost his life over drug debts, man. You know, more of the story, don't get in debt. Don't owe no man nothing. You know what I mean? If you got bad habits, clean it up. Clean it up. How about you be the one that wake yourself up instead of somebody else having to wake you up and correct the things that is weakness to you, that's not helping you grow and enhancing you. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen a lot of men, you know, get behind the walls and allow them demons to come out, you know what I'm saying, and disrupt their whole way of thinking, man. And next thing you know, they either losing their life or they losing their career. You know what I mean? And that's a cold way to go out, you know. But yeah, man, I wanted to bring y'all that little story, you know what I'm saying, about the white boy John, you know. Oh, I didn't tell y'all about that tattoo. Let me tell y'all about that tattoo that the dude Boots had on the back of his head. It was a picture of Hitler, right? Fully detailed. The artwork on it was cold, was sick. You know what I'm saying? It stuck out. It was so cold. It was so sick. And it was a picture of Hitler. And on the top of it, he had going across it, blue-eyed devil. You know what I'm saying? I'll bullshit you. Hey, blue-eyed devil with a picture of Hitler. It was like a circle, but a portrait of Hitler, fully detailed. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I'll never forget that tattoo that he had. I remember standing behind him one day and seeing that, like, this fool got blue-eyed devil tattooed on the back of his head with a detailed portrait of Hitler on the back of his head. Sick. You feel me? But yeah, man, on that note, I'm finna go ahead and let y'all go, man. Just wanted to bring y'all something to the round table, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all taking the time out, man, to come check out these stories. Hopefully it's helping somebody, it's educating somebody, you know what I'm saying? And you know, prison is not the place that you want to end up. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully these stories encourage y'all to stay away. You know what I'm saying? And try to figure out a better way to do what you need to do without jeopardizing your freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because once you get behind the walls, you're going to be, hey, you're going to want your freedom back. And sometimes, hey, that luck card run out and some don't get it back. Some do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But on that note, I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate you all. Like, comment, and subscribe to the Swing Low Podcast Show. Do Rock Creep if you haven't already did it. Love and appreciate you all. To the next time we meet at this round table, y'all stay safe out there. Love all y'all. Triple gang.